CDKN, it's a $120 million program funded by the British and the Dutch government, working in something like 45 countries around the world, research, technical assistance, knowledge management, and with the key idea that we have to bring the climate and development communities together, because you can't just do mitigation and adaptation. You have to look at how the whole climate change policy environment is changing the way the world economy works and make sure that the measures we take work for the poor. The European Union founded the GCCA in 2007, motivated by one big idea, which is that climate change is a problem which affects everybody, which crosses borders, and can only be solved internationally by multilateral action. Now, in the international environment, we have a number of big multilateral players. We have the UN, of course, with the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. We have big actors like the World Bank who manage the climate investment funds. But the EU has developed as the largest aid donor in the world, with a very important normative function in setting the agenda, and with aid programs in more countries than anybody else, the largest aid donor in the world, reaching millions of poor people. In Durban, in the climate talks, Connie Hedegaard, the Climate Change Commissioner, played an absolutely crucial role in bringing the parties together and helping to forge the Durban platform for enhanced action. So we can see that the EU can be a player. On the aid side, Commissioner Piebalgs, with his new policy, Agenda for Change, very committed to environmental issues, among other things. And so the question for us here, I think, in the GCCA discussion, is how we build on the platform that's been established. 35 countries, some $200 million, I think, spent so far in a variety of programs in those countries, in political dialogue, in projects on the ground. What's next? Do the Europeans want to work together in this space, or do they prefer to work through existing institutions or bilaterally? Do the countries want to work through the EU, or would they prefer to work with one of these other players? That's the question that we think we need to address this afternoon, and I think there will be some good, strong answers out of the panel. You know, the fundamental principle of everything we do in development is about ownership. It has to be driven by the countries. And I do look at some of the countries on the GCCA list, and I see that they're receiving aid not from one actor, not from two, but from probably a dozen different players. And if you're the president of the country, or the Minister of Planning, or the Minister of the Environment, there is a queue of people outside your door wanting to talk to you about climate change and development. Each of them with their own ideas, each of them with their own funds, each of them with different frameworks and reporting procedures and timeframes. I think if you're the minister, you want to take charge of that. And some countries have done that brilliantly well. I can't speak for GCCA, but certainly from CDKN, we've been working in Rwanda, for example, a really strong commitment to climate-compatible development that will bring the climate and development debates together, led by the government, supported by a whole range of people, including us. I think that's the philosophy which also inspires GCCA, country-led, country-owned, country-driven, but with international support made as effective, as simple as possible.